Hello and welcome to Wrestleopinionated. This is our weekly show all about the great shows and dark of AEW. We are your hosts. I am Morg. This is
Hulao, and this is...
Sorry. This is Muir. Sorry, that's a really inside joke between us.
Sorry, Morg. I jumped an inside joke on you. Last night, whilst the missus was half asleep after drinking 9 cans of Strongbow, she started talking in basically tongues, like going, Papa Borobo, Canadina Nata, and
Poor
stuff
Papa
like that.
Darabo.
And then she invented a person called Hulao, who apparently we were watching, and it's been my joke of the day. So, this is Matt Strange. I'm not really called Hulao. He's
He
not
is
a way.
Hulao.
He might be a
You
real
are now.
person, but it's not. I am from now on Hulao.
how have you both been this week?
Me and Who have been hanging out a bit, so you know.
There was a heavy drinking day last night because the missus loves Halloween. Then we watched Forged in Fire. Otherwise, week-wise, pretty good. I've watched a lot of wrestling. A lot of wrestling. Thanks, Dark.
Yeah.
How have you been?
Oh, I'm all right. Work, more work, and that's about it. It's not been a particularly exciting week for me, unfortunately.
It's all right. We'll get you ghost hunting this week.
Yes.
Everybody
yes.
should play Phasmophobia. It's
Yes.
fucking dope.
I've got another friend who might want to join us for that. But anyway, we are digressing. Welcome to our podcast about games we have downloaded on Steam. This might be the first time.
Hi there. Welcome to Matt Strange. Go on.
No, go on. Finish your.
Like a prick. I was to say hi there. Welcome to Hulao's Indie Shitter podcast, where I talk about everything indie, from indie wrestlers to indie computer games to indie roleplay games.
Poor Hulao. He used to be cool.
Take back control, Morg. Good job.
So this might be the first time you've listened to the podcast. As such, you would need to know that we have a tier list, which is how we review the give overall scores for BTE and Dark, and how we review each match in Dynamite. And Mr. Strange will now explain our tier list in some form or another.
Well, this week, as I have had the gif of Brandon being like power bombed onto a selection of dice that they claim are D4s, but are clearly not. They're mostly D10s and D12s. Nobody is inhumane enough to slam somebody onto D4s. But since I've been sent that gif like a million times this week, I'm going to, with tears in my eyes, do my tier list through the memes of games you could be playing that aren't D&D. Jesus. So this also ties into our match scale, which is the tier list, which you may know from Japanese computer games, Japanese school system, our school system, and a variety of YouTube videos now. Our lowest ranking is a D rank match. A D rank match is a match where you don't really have to pay attention. It's not that great. You don't care that much. It's the lowest we go on ranks, except for screaming F, ironically, every now and then. And if you're a D&D fan, that's probably the Powered by the Apocalypse system for you. It's good enough to do all that generic hero-y stuff you like without having to think. It's fine. C rank match is a good match. It's got enough story going in. It's got enough wrestling going on that you care about the results. It's good. Solid. What we expect from a good match. And if you're playing D&D, perhaps you could try the Savage World system, which is a system for light, fun, action, bit like your game, but without all of the fucking hit point bloat. Hi there to Lou How bitches about TNT. The podcast. B rank match is a good match. It's better than good. C is what we call good. B is great in some way. Maybe there's better story going in. Maybe the wrestling's great. It just takes one category to that next point where you've just thoroughly enjoyed it. You've not really played on your phone. And if you're a D&D player, perhaps you should try the Gumshoe system, which allows you to do fast cinematic action, but with still that level of crunch to mix things up for you, and points where you can literally story shit your way to the end of it. A-rank match is probably the match of the night. An A-rank match has heart, soul, you give a fuck, you don't look away. Might be well be the match of the month, to be fair. A-rank matches, wrestling is phenomenal. Story, you care about the result, you care about them going in. And for a game comparable to D&D for an A-rank gun, I'd go for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay, 2nd or 4th edition, not 3rd. You've got people growing, evolving, and telling a story, and probably getting tetanus and losing fingers and being minging. An A-rank... An S-rank match is that match of, well, I'd say the year, but it turns out to be about once every 3 to 4 months. An S-rank match has everything you want. You do not look away from the screen. It's got story. It's got heart. The people who are in the match give a fuck about it. The match is great. You tell your friends about it. You get sent gifts about it, but it's worth it because it's more than a dice spot. S-rank matches will stay in legend and be talked about for years to come. Just like me, with Dungeons the Dragoning 40,000 7.5 edition, which is an internet role-playing game combining every dice game you like into something that actually works, that could be turned into whatever you want. And I will go on about this forever. So that's my scale. D, shit. C, what we should expect. B, good. A, really good. S, Sugoi, phenomenal, great. That's our scales.
Excellent.
I'm begging you to play a different role-playing game.
Chance to play D&D would be great at the minute, to be fair.
Yeah, fair. You are in fuck-ass nowhere in COVID season.
Yes. Moving swiftly on, we move on to the news for the week. A couple of bits, something I'd want to bring up, which isn't an AEW piece of AEW news. So
it is wrestling related.
It is wrestling related, and it's mainly so I can say, "Fuck you, Vince McMahon, you fucking twat." I am.
How dare you take AJ from us?
This whole situation with Twitch. So Paige is now possibly leaving WWE. She has tweeted to say she is done with the company. She has had enough. She's one of the people that's been pushing for unionization. AEW, get your asses into gear and get some kind of unionization going with your wrestlers as fast as you can, just so you look better than WWE. Not difficult at the minute. This is all related to WWE now wanting to own the Twitch channels, cameos, and anything else that their superstars do. And this is just a sideline for them. And then adding it to their guaranteed downside. So WWE has to pay them less. Do you know what, WWE? If you made better fucking television and we didn't fucking hate watching it all the time, we'd be watching it, you'd be making money, and it wouldn't matter. Stop writing shit. So that's my mini rant over about that. But yeah, possibly
back
Paige.
Russo.
Yeah, Paige possibly leaving WWE. To be honest, I'd quite like her to come over. I know they don't do general managers in AEW. I want AEW to sign her and put her in as managing the women's division. To be honest, she was really good as the SmackDown GM. Really, really fucking good as the SmackDown GM. And I think having a woman, having a manager, a general manager for the women's division might actually breathe some life into it.
Bring AJ over with the Good Brothers. You'll trade them for FTR. Muir's dead.
No, I just don't care about Paige, so I'm not making a comment. Poor AJ, he was taken from us too soon.
Why didn't you save me, AJ?
Why didn't you save us, AJ?
I've got a bit of on-the-fly news that I learned last night, actually, now I think about it, which isn't on our notes, so I'm just throwing this in here. Disney/Marvel might be licensing their own wrestling promotion.
Oh, God,
which is
no.
they've put through like a license, the paperwork you put through to say
why? There's no money in wrestling.
Look, once they've shown fucking Robert Downey Jr. and a fucking The Rock at a Disney wrestling promotion, it will suddenly be cool. And it'll be everywhere, and I will scream and be driven into being even more of a weird indie bin-sniffing asshole.
Oh, it's okay, Who. You'll be fine.
I've said for a long time that I can't understand why wrestling isn't bigger at the minute, considering that superheroes over the last few years, although it's starting to fall over now, but superheroes have been the big thing for about the last
Because
10
no
years.
babyface has the trial at the moment, so you can't get the superhero story from them.
This is true.
It's not real.
It's not real.
Not like my Captain Americas.
Well, I'd be down with it if they don't watch WWE, and even as much as I love AEW, don't watch it. If they watch a thing called Lucha Underground, that'd be the way for Disney and Marvel to go.
Just
Not
don't want to see
palatable
their
enough to sell to
sanitized fun.
12-year-olds.
Sanitized Disney
Right,
corporate fun.
let's move on before me and Nick get all anarchist in this.
Right.
Thunder Rosa might have signed the Mark contract.
God damn it, Thunder Rosa. You're better
She
than
might
that.
have. Might have.
Yeah. Mean Magoo said she had.
Yeah. Dave Meltzer reports that Thunder Rosa has. I'll translate from internet speak. Thunder Rosa recently lost the NWA title to Serena Deeb, which we see defended. More on that later. And is apparently no longer associated with NWA. People are hoping this means she's going to look at AEW, but Dave Meltzer, famous wrestling newsman, has said she has gone to WWE. So look forward to seeing Rose Thunder on your TV soon.
Should be the next one for Nia Jax to squash. Don't worry, boys.
No. She won't be Nia Jax. She's next champion. She's like loved the world over. She's a really, really good wrestler. It's obvious that she'll be fed to fucking Charlotte fucking Flair.
Charlotte Flair ain't there at the moment. Nyla needs feeding at the moment.
No, Charles. No.
No, Charles, please.
Right.
Basically, the rumor on this is that she was waiting by the phone for someone to call, and Triple H called first.
We all know that they don't care about their women's divisions. So,
More on that later.
Yeah. So moving on from the news, we move to our social media of the week. Mr. Strange, have you picked out a piece of social media for people to go and check out?
We've got a couple of pieces of news off the old social media, as I am still learning to Twitter better after, 7 months. Lee Johnson and the Gun Club have apparently joined the Nightmare. What's their actual real name? I want to
Nightmare Family, mate, not Nightmare People.
Yep. So they've now been officially advanced. So it looks like we might be going NJPW style in factions, I suppose. In response to this, the best friends asked if they had to be recruiting. So they're obviously trying to recruit the captain, Sean Dean, after their amazing, voting for him to win the Bravalon match. So who knows? Maybe factions are growing because that takes the Nightmare people up to 8 of them? Maybe?
God.
And from a personal level, this morning, Santana said he was jamming to Frank Sinatra. So you should all support Santana for having fucking great taste. Slow week in the old social media for a specific shout out, but that's what I've learned from it.
And so now it's time for our review of the week in wrestling. We start off, as always, with BTE or Being the Elite. What did you guys think of the show, and what overall score do we give this show?
I 100% have notes on this, but I think Muir should lead.
I understand who. Okay, I'm taking over. So this starts off with a rip-off of the Dead Zone, but with a mobile phone. Dead Zone being a famous Stephen King
it was
novel.
wicked.
So I really enjoyed this, wherever he took a picture with the super new phone, whichever box it was, Matt, I think, had the magic phone.
Promo book.
Promo book, not flippy book that needs to win. Okay. It started taking pictures with his magic phone, and it always showed bad futures that were going to happen, which I really enjoyed. I like that Kaz has anger management problems. Just wandering around the hall screaming.
I love Kaz. I love him so much.
I liked when he started telling them about the history of the heel tunnel and the face tunnel. I thought that was quite good. If some people didn't actually know that, faces normally come from one tunnel and heels normally come from the other.
It's a good way to sneak in a little bit of actual wrestling history.
Yeah.
Which I'm learning a fuckload of, so I appreciate being out there.
Yeah. Well, you can't expect everybody to spend hours on the internet learning these things, so it's always good to show stuff up like that. But the main focus of this night was the public party that the Dark Order were throwing.
What was it? Dark Order. Who was on the no list? Dark Order, somebody else, and that's it. And
Which was Private Party and Brian
Pillman
Pillman
Jr., and that's it.
Yeah.
Wardlow is ending up with some of them. I'm sorry. They keep putting him in scenes with them. I reckon he really gets on with the indie, like PWG boys and GWC lot.
So
we need more
perfect in
Gig
his
Card.
dry humour that he just like pulls out every so often. I really like it. I love the reaction from 5's Joker to 10's Joker. That fucking made me pissed just because they just hate 5. I loved it. Then we got the Captain Sean Dean bit after that. Oh no, Stu in his fucking Robin outfit because he's Stu Grayson, obviously.
Oh, that was awesome.
Grayson, yeah.
Not the wrong Grayson. He hates that, but he's scared of Anna because she's too powerful.
Then we got the who's winning the Bravalon match bit for ages. And the only good bit of this
Captain
was,
Sean Dean.
Yeah, was the best friends just saying Captain Sean Dean.
My favourite bit of this was actually Sammy Guevara breaking the fourth wall a little. For me, I liked the Sammy bit. I didn't mind this. I liked the Sammy bit. I liked the best friends one. Obviously, that was the funny. Sammy doing so you're on this longest story we've had running. It's on the pay-per-view, yeah. Oh, it's on the Dynamite before. It's on Dark. What the fuck? And I was a little bit. I liked that, and I
kind of agree with that.
Sammy was my voice in that particular episode of BTE.
I still think that they damaged the match by not making a bigger deal out of it, but
damaged the match by not having the Captain Sean Dean win it out of nowhere. That would have been fucking wicked. I'd have pissed.
I was happy to see the pausing of the multiverse back when
Broken
Matt just came back and like into the party. I thought that was really good. I really enjoyed seeing him not just be old man that wrestled.
Matt Hardy, cool.
I think that's a setup for something coming up, but more on that later.
The Elysian. The more on that later.
Will Fuego keep his job? We will see in this match. They were particularly bad with the shots of this thing, but it looks awful. I don't know. It must be hard because you've got like these tiny little freaking sticks, so, you know.
This is the 20-minute Fuego versus... because it's him again, isn't it? Yeah. No, ignore me. Either way, it's kind of fun. I love the fact Cody loves him.
Then we just had the rest of them just playing until we have Matt from the Young Bucks, John Silver, and Trent in the final for next time. Then we had Eddie doing a promo on Halloween.
I didn't have Christmas.
What was that about?
And other things that are shouted around my house now. You can't walk anywhere in my house without somebody shouting, "Where's your wife?"
Hey, Blade.
Here's your wife. I didn't have Christmas. Just anything Eddie. I mean, it's a sign that he's got good promo game and that he's going to go far, to be fair. But, yeah. Hey, Blade, where's your wife? Hey, Ghost, where's your wife?
It's where your wife's the standard one. Then we got the best bit where Jungle Boy dressed as Griff Garrison came to the costume party.
I love Griff.
And then Wardlow letting him in. And then they...
just getting more and more indie.
Yes, right. And then Private Party weren't allowed in because it was a public party.
Good.
And that's about BTE. I enjoyed it.
It was a fun one. It's worth a watch if you like wrestling and Halloween and you enjoy the indie madness and you're not serious man face McMeat slapper, you know.
Yeah, if you like indie shitter wrestling, which we both really enjoy, you know, it's great.
I'd say it was a B-ranked BTE.
I was going to say, the opening segment alone, the Halloween horror story at the beginning, I think made it a B, but I thought overall it was really good.
Yeah. Yeah, just generally entertaining. It's what we've come to expect, to be honest. They've been really good since they sort of let the Dark Order and Best Friends take over.
I miss Brody, though.
He'll be back. I assume he's doing something.
It's probably,
God.
you're better off just letting the other lot be silly for a bit, I think. Then he can come back.
Yeah.
And the last time we saw him was him corpsing with Sue. He's kind of blown his cool a little because he finally corpsed.
Right, they finally got him.
Right.
Right, after our
Dark
quick review of Dynamite, it's on to Dark.
15 matches, boys. 15.
So I just want to quickly point out that, you know, we've talked about Dark before, and the Raptor did point out to me that in my intro I always go on about the great shows of AEW, and therefore why do we review Dark?
Yeah, it's true. 100%. It's okay. I've got this, boys. I'm not going to lie. A lot of these reviews are no more than 3 lines, but I'm ready.
Oh, God, I
ready to
remember
do
who
this.
started off on comms at the start of this, Dark. Jesus.
Yeah. Morg didn't mind Anthony Ogogo. It is Anthony, isn't it?
I think so, yeah.
Personally, for me, he killed the commentary.
He killed the team, yeah.
Sure, he might be finding other places, but Dark very much has that Taz, Excalibur, Bance thing. And
Fucking
I
around.
feel it
That
kind of
makes it
lost
good.
that.
Yeah.
It very much picked up when Miro came on later.
Yeah. Right, here we go. One of you is going to have to take notes of the recommended matches because I just drew arrows pointing at them.
Okay, I'm on it.
You're on it. You're ready. Right, we opened up with Lucha Jobbers versus the OG Dark Orders.
Top Flight.
But
they seemed good, but green, very green.
I liked Top Flight.
Was all right. There were some botches. You could see the greenness. There was no reason to care about this match.
No. Oh God, no.
Skippable 100%. Yeah. Cool. It was a match on Dark.
I think you can guess who won.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We had
the Dark Order. Come on. So Ricky Stanks versus
Ricky Stanks. You put some fucking respect on my boy Starks' name, yeah. Versus VSK.
I don't care about you.
I wrote beautiful because Starks entered the arena, obviously. Mostly at this point, I'm still angry about Ogogo's voice. Starks at least gave him a match because Starks never just squashes a man. I still gave it.
He gave him a good match.
Skippable.
I liked his kip up and spear. It was good.
Yeah, he's got that spear shit down. He's really sort of milking that.
Then we have Bunny and Eddie.
Oh, yeah, thank God. An explanation. But there wasn't an explanation. They just said what she did. Telling me what you did isn't an explanation. Like why did you go to the shops? Oh, I got up, I walked to the shop, I bought my thing, and I came back. But why did you go to the shops? Please don't feed Eddie Stable to the Nightmare people. Please.
They look delicious, mate.
Please, I know Eddie's over as fuck, and I know they're all over as fuck, but
bring me the talky one. I must be fed to me.
This section only gave me dread for the future, to be completely honest. Then we actually got into a good match. This is one of my recommendations. Yep. Seidel versus, I assume, Lee Johnson?
It was Lee Johnson, mate, yeah.
Ruth obviously complained about the Shooting Star Press in his intro. But this was just a good match.
Funnier.
Like how he hasn't done one since. That's really, I've noted that in every match. He has yet to bust it out again. But this was actually a good match. I'm still a bit confused by pointy head.
Evil Buddhist.
Evil Buddhist. You know, a thing we haven't had since the Yellow Turban Rebellion.
It's because he's joining Chaos Project.
Better not.
After the head pointing match between him and Luther, whoever gets the most head points in 20 minutes wins.
God, please.
That's the one.
But yeah, no, this was a good match. This is a good technical showcase. Seidel's got a load of fucking cool moves and takedowns and technical stuff. Watch this match.
Yeah.
Then we had.
This was one of the better matches. I enjoyed this one.
100%. This was good. This would be a C rank match. B if it had some story. Just really good. Cheetah versus new person.
Hirsch.
Layla Hirsch.
Oh, well, this was against Hirsch. This is where it began, and my first notes on she's good. You guys are going to pick up on my new love of Layla Hirsch, who I've decided can be the queen in the Dwarven Kingdom stable with Pac. They didn't know, they hadn't fought each other a lot, and that showed. You could see a bit of the slowness in some of the takeness and moves, but I'm not going to gush about Hirsch now, because this isn't the match to gush about her with.
No.
This was
really sloppy in this match, and she does normally really good. She nearly dropped her like 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, we'll come back to this. Is skippable. More on Hirsch later.
Yep.
Now I've just got QT written down with meh.
QT had his promo about the bunny leaving him, and this story just being fucking awful.
I'm not what I'd call an aggressively progressive person. I am a progressive person. I have very open views. I'm not what I'd call one of those people who gets angry and offended on people's behalf. We have a story where a man's wife, where just left him to go off and have
With
a
another
relationship for several months. And then Eddie just walks in and goes, "Oh, you have to come back." Like picks her up and down. This storyline, if it's explained anymore, I can't. Sorry, I'm a little bit lost for words.
It's okay, Hugh. We've got to move on. It's just
It
a weird story, okay?
It's a weird, unfilled story. Okay, then
It's because It's because they are fucked up with you can't have babyface. So you can't actually, in kayfabe, turn around and say that Bunny is Blade's wife. Because
they did. They did. He went, "Hey Blade, where's your wife?"
But they shouldn't have done. And this is the problem. They shouldn't have covered that because all of a sudden your babyface went off with somebody else's wife who started hitting on him. And
you know what would have worked? Do you know what would have been good? If the story had been Bunny had gone to steal the diamond cutter, which was being brought to QT through DDP, and once she'd stolen it, she could bring it back to Blade and he'd have it in his repertoire. I'm just saying story writing.
I'm just saying if QT can't get a crowd reaction from doing a fucking diamond cutter, there's no hope for it.
If you can't get over with a move designed to get a 36-year-old man over.
Yes, mate.
Right, rolling past my utter disdain for this plotline. The trios match, which I believe was Trios Jobbers versus Jurassic Express.
Why did I remember about this fucking match?
I only have small notes on this. I would argue it's skippable because Strong Marco devalues every other member of the team.
Yeah, it makes Luchasaurus look like a geek for me.
Marco's stunt can jump in the ring and take out all 3 members of the other team. There is no point of a hot tag for Luchasaurus.
No, you basically cripple the team.
And they were a bit slow on their normal spinny finisher. They've got a lot of cool moves when they use Marco for momentum and when they use him in like the combo things.
Or as a weapon.
There's no...
Yeah,
there's no point having a strong guy, a technical guy, and a weak guy if the weak guy can beat all of the opponents.
Yeah. It's sort of ruined your storytelling. Well, there we are. We're down 5 matches so far. We've only got 10 to go, boys. Come on. All right, THQ versus SCU.
Solid. You don't need to watch it. THQ deserve better. Jack eats a lot of shit. It's fine. See. I don't agree with the outcome, but they're all solid in the ring.
Was that on your recommended or not?
No, not on the recommended. The recommended is currently still just...
It's just Lee Johnson versus Seidel at this point. There was another match.
Perez versus Anna Jay.
Oh, God, this was poor.
She wants us to watch her show.
Please stop overexposing Anna Jay. Jesus, she can't carry another wrestler. She's had like a year's experience, guys.
But her character work is great.
Oh, she's doing fantastic.
Yeah. She is wearing her gimmick on her fucking face. I can see it in moves when she's doing it and how she carries herself.
Mate.
Fabulous.
I think she covers a lot of it by just with her character work, to be honest. I didn't hate... I really like Anna Jay. I really, really like Anna Jay. I fucking hate her finish.
I mean, the only reason it's her finish because it's to get Brandy over when Brandy wins against it. So,
Also, I kind of felt a little bit like I watch a lot of AEW stuff, and I go on AEW Twitter and I watch the additional promos that they don't put on the show to tell you guys. Putting Anna Jay attacking Brandy on her show where she on a shot of Brandy with John Silver. I almost watched it for my comedy meme love of John Silver, but I really don't need the plots mixed into yet another YouTube channel.
No,
please.
Please.
And now we're rolling on to what should have been the main event. The fact that the Bravalon match is midway through this show, I don't like that.
No.
And I think that this storyline deserved better.
I think it deserved the pay-per-view time. I really do.
It was fine.
Yeah.
The dice weren't D4s, cowards. I love full heel Peter Avalon. I hope he gets an actual push because he is really good. Like he's really
one of the
good.
better wrestlers in AEW. He's just
him and Avalon need each other because Avalon's good.
Yeah.
But Avalon has no promo game. I'm sorry. As much as I did an intro about role play games and stuff, D&D isn't cool. I'm sorry, guys.
Really not cool.
They should have become tag teams and got their first win together.
Yeah, they should have.
And I don't know where the story's going. Otherwise, the match was fine. I don't. Morg, you watch this as like your main event. Would you recommend this match?
I enjoyed it. We enjoyed it as the payoff to the story. We liked the babyface finally overcoming the dickish heel. There was a lot of nice little things that made us laugh. The slam on the books or the slam on the dice. When he took the bag of dice out because the Raptor has been going on and on and on about how he needs to be slammed on a bunch of D4s. And when he took the dice out, we thought it was funny because it's been something that we've been, as tabletop role players, that we've been building up to. It was... Unfortunately, it was a C. It should have been a B. They're both good, but Brandon is still in that learning area. He's good, but he's not phenomenal. I really liked Lever in this.
Yeah, that was good actually. Good. I'd forgotten it. I've watched so much wrestling.
Yeah, I really like Lever in this. Yeah, you should watch it if you've been invested in this story because it is the payoff to this story. It should have been the main event. It should have been at least on the Go Home Dynamite, and it should have been on the pay-per-view. They should have had their pay-per-view paycheck for this.
Yeah,
100%. 100%.
Instead of just throwing some random
or
matches
even
on
just
this
put
week.
them as the buy-in, or part of the buy-in.
Yeah, I'd have watched it and make me watch the buy-in.
Yes, mate. That's what I was saying. Anyway,
right. We're going to roll on to my second recommendation of the night, would you believe? The Best Friends versus the Jobbers.
Jobbers.
It was Max something who had... I was taking the piss at the start because I didn't expect this to be a good match.
No.
But I had a great time. The mic bit at the start, the mic discussion with pointing out how it's not plugged in and stuff.
Yes, mate.
Chuck seems a lot more comfortable in a smaller crowd environment. He properly had his stupid faces on and doing stuff. They obviously knew each other. Brent's always great. I thought this was a really good match and I had a great time.
It was good fun.
I don't know if I'm overrating because it's the Best Friends. Morg, did you actually watch this one?
No.
Morg finished that's the Bravalon match.
Yeah, I unfortunately now cannot contribute anymore.
I think it was the best match that we had so far of the night. I really enjoyed this, and I don't think it was just because of Best Friend bias. I think it actually had a bit of heart to it, unlike the rest of the, jobber matches. Because they actually put over their jobbers. Their jobbers had the fucking mic and actually, built a bit of story instead of just being in the ring.
Boys, just go out and do some indie shit. Oh, my favourite.
Yep.
Right, from that other match, the second recommendation, we roll into the Scorpio Sky promo. I only actually have 2 points on this promo. I don't remember it, but my only note is God, the shape of that man. And I believe at this point, I texted Muir, and I am a completely straight white male man, normal sort of thing. I texted Nick just saying Scorpio Sky is sex-shaped, if I recall.
I think I texted something like I just wanted to hold me on a cold night. Stupid like that.
The boy is sculpted.
Yeah, he's an Adonis. He really is a good-looking lad. I can't lie there, mate. But yeah, it was a solid promo. It got over this feud. Yeah, and I'm excited for him to get over the dickish heel at some point.
Yeah, exactly. They'll have a good match together. They've both got a lot of facial expressions. Cage versus Fuego. Base Cage always puts over his opponent. Let's get a bit in.
Always gives him a spot. That's why Cage is fantastic. Even though he's going to beat you, he'll give you something.
What did he finish with? The fucking Weapon X.
I miss it. I don't know why he would change his fucking finisher from the Weapon X. Because he's I don't know if we've discussed it before. He is literally the only man you could physically think. He could just fold me into a pretzel around himself, you know?
When Cage ties a man into a knot around his back, I believe it. And
Yeah.
it looks cooler than the drill claw because it's got that moment of setup and a huge impact. It's
Yes,
just
mate.
fucking cool. Sean Maluta versus 10. I actually wrote down Sean Maluta's surname for some reason. He must have been notable. I wrote down that this was fine, unless you've got anything to add to that.
I really like how 10 works. I was saying to you at your time, he works like a classical big man. He's really slow and purposeful in his movements. He's got the whole Jason Voorhees slow but purposeful movement instead of being this fast indie jobber heel. You know, big hoss man, which I thought was cool, but yeah, it was solid enough. Nothing more really to say.
Kylan King and Evans, whose first name I don't have down, versus the Latinas.
Savannah
My
Evans.
only note is Savannah Evans. Thank you, Morg. The only thing I've got on this one is Kylan was the best thing in this match. Don't know if you've got more, Muir.
No, it was not a good match.
Skippable.
Yeah.
Then we got Solo versus Sonny, and I really like Solo. We've seen a bunch of him, but I'm sure we've already had Solo versus Sonny. But
Probably.
Solo did a fucking body scissors that was really wicked, like roll through. And to be fair, this was a solid match.
Yeah.
I've been critical of Sonny before for overly set up spots, but he looks like he's cut out some of that, like he didn't do the full cartwheel into his axe kick. Yeah, really solid. And honestly, I could probably recommend this match. Solo's really good.
Recommendations as well. This was one of the this match surprised me because I'm not a huge fan of Sonny's like slow matches. I find them really too set up-y. They're not fast enough. But it was good. It was really good.
At the end of this match, Morg, Lance came out, beat up Sonny and threw people about, and him and Jake did some talking about how they're just going to wander around assaulting people, basically, which isn't really a change of their MO, but it's nice to know it's happening, I suppose.
There are some bad guys out there.
Lance got to do some talking, and he's actually improved. He didn't just say everybody dies.
Better.
He used to work on his turn away from the camera, though, as he finished his line, like stared at the camera for like 20 seconds, and I was like, this is a bit awkward, Lance. I'm just looking at your big, beautiful lips. Hobbs versus Nick Comoroto. I was really excited for this match because the match between Darby and Nick Comoroto last week was fucking cool. This wasn't a cool match. Nick Comoroto went down too early. It was just a clumsy big man squash. Skippable.
I don't know why you bring in a big man for someone to squash. I just don't get it. Unless it's
Especially
like Darby Allin.
Yeah, he did, but he did like 15 minutes with Darby. That was a solid match. This was just like a couple of slams and it was over. And it was one with a frog splash.
Why is Will Hobbs doing a fucking frog splash? I don't know.
It's probably because everybody does a spine buster.
Yeah, fair. He's got to try someone else, hasn't he? But I like the last Will and Testament. Why don't we keep that?
And it's a fucking cool name for a move.
Exactly.
And then we finished with Alex Chamberlain versus Darby Allin. So you might want to watch this one, Morg. I just wrote down fine.
It's not the way you would have ended this show, though, is it? You know, you have
the
story that's building up for 18 months or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So out of 15 matches, our recommended are Seidel versus Lee Johnson, Best Friends versus Anthony Bowens and Max Caster. Max Caster, and Sonny versus Aaron Solo. And if you've been invested in the story, Peter Avalon versus Brandon Cutler.
Yeah, but that was 2.5 hours of my life I'm not getting back, boys.
Oh, that's sad. We couldn't even properly recommend the end of the feud we've been most invested in.
Yeah.
Jesus. And we're nerds, you know. We should have a vested interest in D&D, man.
Yeah. But no. So let's go on to something a lot more bright.
Yeah, it's like a D rank with a couple of B matches in there. Yeah. But you can watch them independently now. So listen to our recommendations. Thank you, Morg.
So moving on, we move on to Dynamite.
Yeah.
And Dynamite opens with Wardlow, MJF, and Sammy promo. What do you think of the promo? Did you give it a score?
I really enjoyed this promo, even though it's just WrestleMania 4 over again with the $1 Million Man and Andre the Giant. This big man's going to win the belt for me.
I like the idea of the Sammy feud, and I'm actually invested in the Wardlow plot. I'm happy to see where the Wardlow story is going.
How he's
especially
going to free his family from servitude.
from MJF. Yeah. No, I'm intrigued by this.
Yeah.
I didn't rank it just because it's more of a where is this going? It caught my attention for an opening.
It was good. I enjoyed it, jokes aside.
JR, Excalibur, and Schiavone on commentary, and we open up with Wardlow versus Hangman in a title tournament match. Hangman wins with 2 buckshot lariats. What do you think of the match? What score did you give it?
This was a good match.
It had such a strong Rook start that I was
those
instantly
punches
invested.
at the start were fucking great.
There were a couple of. I'm going to be a little bit critical.
Yeah,
There were a couple of points where Wardlow had to be like tricked to fall through the ropes and stuff, and he was a little bit slow on his running now and then. He's got a bit of a. He's not quite as confident in himself and his partner to pull it all off together. But then he threw Hangman so far. He flew across the ring.
Yes, mate.
It started off, I'd say it was solid, but not mind-blowing for the start. But then after it picked up, really good start. Slowed down for a little bit of didn't blow my mind. But then the pickup ending, there was a lot of good stuff going on. The fucking turnbuckle throw.
When they were fighting on top of the turnbuckle, just standing on it, not holding it. That was fucking ridiculous.
This was a solid Hoss brawl. I don't think it cost Wardlow because I expected Wardlow to lose to Hangman. Hangman is the higher card, more skilled wrestler, but it did. Wardlow ate 2 buckshots and a bunch
Those
of other
2
shit.
buckshots were fucking great as well. They felt like they were so impactful.
I loved the storyline through this. That Hangman just had to keep pulling something out. We really enjoyed this match. Raptor turned to me at the end of it. Well, that went well because neither of them looked weak. They both came out of that looking really
match. It really was.
He's right.
I gave it A/B. We really enjoyed this. What did you guys think?
I gave it a B.
I gave it a solid A. I thought this was great.
Fuck. All right, boys. I'm outvoted.
Well, it's actually an A/B, and a B, so you're not really outvoted.
Morg, you're the decider.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, it's an A/B, not a B/A, so therefore it is officially an A-.
It crawls over the line. Yeah, I really enjoyed this.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this match.
But it did have 2 of my favourite, wrestlers of the company in it, so...
I'm very critical of seeing slow spots and stuff, though, but, that's me.
Following on from that, we had a Mox video promo, standard Mox. Are we leaving?
Solid moxing.
Yeah. Just in case this is the first time you've listened to our podcast, there are 4 wrestlers who, when they cut promos, 2 baby faces, 2 heels, and when they cut promos, we generally just go, it's solid. We don't rank them. We expect a B out of these guys at the very least. They're Mox,
basically.
Mox, Cody, Jericho, and MJF. So moving on from that, we had actually, I'm going to state there's a new one to add to this list.
Eddie.
I just saw my next note. There are 5 wrestlers who we standardly now say we expect at least a B promo out of them. Eddie Kingston in ring promo. Solid Kingston.
Yeah. He's just the fucking gold standard for me now. I love Eddie Kingston, and as we're about to roll into Eddie versus Seidel, do you want to give us the official
Eddie versus Eddie Kingston with Butcher Blade and Bunny versus Matt Seidel, and Eddie Kingston wins with the Bulldog choke. What did you think of the match, and what score did you give it?
I really enjoyed this. I love Eddie's brawling, and I was really surprised at how well Seidel's fucking huge technical repertoire worked really well with it. It was just a really good match for me. Nothing missed. Just showed off both of them. They both got character work in. I gave it a high C, but I kind of want to make it a B because it's my sort of match, basically. This is a Luchador Technico versus Rudo, and it was fabulous. What did you guys get?
Me, expecting this to be terrible because I thought their styles would clash awfully, was really surprised at how good this match came together and really enjoyed it. And I really loved post-traumatic stress Eddie at the end, where he's just fucking going mental, holding him, just going, tap out, Mox, tap out,
Yeah, mate.
I thought it was really good storytelling. So yeah, I really enjoyed this and gave it a B.
So before we started watching this match, this is going to be the standard for Eddie. Can he have we've seen him have a great brawl match. Can he have a great match with his brawling style versus someone like Seidel, who's doing a very much a mat submission? I never for 1 second thought he couldn't, but I was ready for that moment of having to turn around and go, ooh.
Yeah, mate.
I'm going to say it was a B as well.
Yes, it was just fucking good.
It
good
was a
wrestling.
really good match. My notes are actually undecided. I've got question marks next to my standard score on this because I was going to go with what you guys thought a little more on this. Let you push me over.
Just solid wrestling, sometimes with enough character work just shown in the ring and enough cool stuff going on and nothing to take you out of it.
Some story, and it's great.
Great.
Yeah,
exactly. There was not much story going in, and they made some, and it was cool. Wrestling is the worst part of wrestling, and the wrestling was great.
Yeah. So then we had FTR and Young Bucks interview segment.
Oh God.
The Cody clause. The Cody clause.
I know.
Well, we had FTR being boring versus the Bucks explaining that they just decided to be psychos for a bit.
Yeah,
it's not.
it's not a good storyline at all.
It's not good when I like the Bucks in the ring, but their promo game isn't the best. They mostly rely on Nick being meta and Matt trying, and it's not good when the Young Bucks out promo you. Cody, this section did nothing for me. Just I was like,
It made me care less about the.
Did you hype Morg? Did it pop you?
It just at the end of it when they gave the stipulation. So the stipulation that they have said is that if the Young Bucks lose, they will not challenge for the tag team titles.
Oh, just don't care.
So what I don't like about this is, so I can see much like the Cody situation, what we said at the time when Cody lost and went out of being able to challenge for the main title. Very clever. One of the EVPs, you don't want to get that reputation of you just booking the title onto yourself. And but I have said since day one that out of the 4 EVPs, the ones that actually needed to win the belt because of who they are above anyone else was the Young Bucks. They need to win the tag team belt because they will add legitimacy to it. Kenny will add legitimacy to the world championship, and Cody, will. But more than any of them, I think the Young Bucks, who've turned tag team wrestling around so much, would add so much legitimacy. I'm just confused now, and I don't think this is. It's made me not sure who's going to win, but it's made me not sure who's going to win for the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
it's made me care so little, and I cared very little beforehand. I don't know. It's just find FTR so boring. I was so excited to have them because they're great, like 80s wrestlers, and the match they did with Butcher and Blade was fantastic. Then it's just nothing's happened since, and it's just been like, I just don't care.
I don't understand why they came in showing off hard skills, but now rely on cheating.
Yes, mate.
It's because they're heels.
It's fucking anime power level. In the first episode, the bad guy shows up, he wipes the entire group, but an episode later, you can sort of kick shit out of him.
So then we moved on to the Inner Circle Town Hall meeting. What did you think of the segment, and what score did you give it?
Don't want to be the one who always starts with a bit of negativity.
Don't worry, I'll be adding negativity.
This was fine. I had a couple of sensible chuckles. I had a little sensible chuckle at Avalon. I screamed about Eric Bischoff because I scream every time he shows up. I chuckled a bit. I had a little chuckle at, what can you bring to the circle? Friendship. And, the prima donnaing was fun. But I think it could have been shorter. Like, I enjoyed the end, with Sammy and Ortiz fucking calling out MJF and stuff, and Santana giving the little, shrug and the jacket and thing. No, maybe it could have been a bit more concise and a bit more funny. It was a fine wrestling section, arguably a C-rank moment for me. But I don't think it was consistent or tight enough to really blow my mind, shall we say?
I think this suffered from last week's S rank moment between them.
Yeah.
A little.
I did enjoy Britt Baker and Rebel acting like fangirls.
Rebel.
I thought that was brilliant.
Rebel being the Chris Jericho fangirl. There were lots of nice little bits. I like Tony Schiavone shouting Jericho down when Bischoff asked his question. I liked all that. That's obviously going to lead somewhere. But again, yeah, I'm with you, Matt. I think it was just a C overall. I think
just too long.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's what's
Sadly,
the
so.
guy who writes Aeroplane says, or wrote Aeroplane, I don't know the name of the famous comedian, it was always a thing of always have a joke going on, even if it's in the background, if it's something, always have something for somebody else to watch. And this just didn't have that. It was kind of like, here's one joke, here's a joke for people who watch Dark, here's this. And I had, as I said, I had sensible chuckles at a bunch of them, but it was all just building to that final moment, and it was padding before your actual joke and conclusion.
So, following on from that, Team Taz video promo. Anything to say about it?
I think I just wrote yay and cool. They're going to heal themselves into faces. I love Team Taz.
Team Taz are fun.
Following on from that, Orange Cassidy versus Cody in a lumberjack match for the TNT Championship. Cody wins after John Silver interferes. I just want to say quickly, when we did our thing about stipulations, I forgot to mention I fucking hate lumberjack matches.
Jack matches?
Yeah, really fucking hate lumberjack matches.
What if you were doing a lumberjack match, but you were Cody, and you thought, does this have complicated enough booking for the story?
No.
And you thought to yourself, no.
It needs more. It needs more dubs, boys.
I've got a lot of notes on this match. I thought this match was a bit of a roller coaster for me, if I'm completely honest. Like at the start, they sort of said, once again, they told me the situation but didn't explain why. So the Dark Order were trying to beat up Orange Cassidy in this match at the start.
Not Cody.
But not Cody, who took the belt. Why?
No clue.
So that didn't make sense. Explained the situation, but not the causation again. Solid start. I enjoyed the Orange Cassidying. I enjoyed him actually going for human action man Cody Rhodes and then slowing back down again. We had some best friends healing, which kind of makes sense because they're not really faces. They've just got like a face skin on. There was some really cool wrestling. There was a lot of good counters from Cody on the spinning DDT into, I think he vertical suplexed him. It was a lot of good wrestling. Then suddenly people at the Dark Order are attacking Cody, even though they said they were going to attack Orange Cassidy. Then TH2 got involved for some reason. It all went Dubsy Dub. I've literally got Dubsy Dub written on my notes at the point you said that.
Yes, mate.
We had the ultimate wobbly plex, and I've not complained about wobbly dances and wrestlers standing waiting for moves for quite a while. That was the ultimate wobbly dance. When 12 people have to turn around to go, wow, a vertical suplex. Cody has now entered the realms of Pentagon and Trent for hit points.
Yeah.
Then Arn punched Orange Cassidy. I mean, is he? We've had no signs of Arn doing Healy shit before.
Oh, he's been the honest manager that's been keeping Cody on the straight and narrow.
It just went really weird and Dubsy Dub. The ending was hugely overbooked. Then the
Probably
guns.
Arn's fine. I think Arn may be winning the contract for the Four Horsemen name, so he's got to turn heel quick.
I did enjoy having a mid-ring Faymaster, and I got excited when the guns ran into at the end, but it was just such a clusterfuck. Like, I can't...
Yes, mate. God.
I want it... It should have been a B. It should have been solid storytelling, solid wrestling with a bit of Dark Order plot thrown in. It was so overly booked, I don't think I can give it above a C. I was just so, continuously trying to follow events.
No. It felt like 1999 WCW. It was just like, and then this guy comes in for no reason. Oh, and here he is. It's like, oh God, please no.
Sorry, boys, I just ranted over.
I haven't done it this week. It was all right.
Yeah, no. That is exactly how I feel, Morg. Thank you for summing it up.
It was a C.
Yeah.
I'm used to Cody being we re-nicknamed. They always going about him being the 3-star ring general, and we've said no. He is our B general. We have very rarely, even if we've hated everything about the winner and the bits of the match, we've nearly
The
consistently.
matches are good.
Cody has nearly always
Cody
got a
doesn't
B.
put on a bad match. He doesn't
And
put on a bad match.
this was an overbooked mess, and it was a fucking lumberjack match, which didn't help. Yeah,
I don't know why you have a hate for lumberjacks. I
I've never liked lumberjack matches.
I like it.
Find them irritating.
Fair enough, but
I'm indifferent.
So what score did you give it, Mr. Muir?
I give it a C, mate.
C
It
across the
wasn't
board.
bad. Like
It
wasn't bad. It just wasn't good. There was too
I
much.
just have a lingering dislike of any Nightmare people, and then they keep building themselves up worse. And it's just
I wish it had gone to a draw with the lumberjacks on each side holding them down or whatever, and them getting counted out, and then we could have had a 3-way for the TNT Championship, which I think would have been a much more fun match. And we haven't had a lot of 3-way dances in AEW. So
Yeah.
moving on, Best Friends and Kip and Miro, quick promo. Any thoughts on it?
Good work, Penelope, for dressing like Orange Cassidy. I have one note for this. Overall, it was a fine little moment. Except fucking Alan isn't going to get over. I'm sorry. Just say it's a fancy arcade machine. But there is one moment which perfectly expressed to me who Trent is. And people who've listened to us more will notice my weird obsession with Trent as this sort of strange human killing machine who doesn't like wrestling, from what I can tell.
He doesn't like being a tag wrestler. He fucking hates being a tag wrestler, for one thing. That's the best part.
At the point where Kip said trick or treat, Trent just instinctively went neither. Just instantly. There was no pause, just neither. And that expresses to me, as a human being, who this weird wrestling machine, Ibushi style weirdo that Trent is.
He's just a lower level Ibushi. That's all he is. He's got less crazy in him.
It's fine. I don't think Trent should be fed to Miro yet. I think he deserves better.
Yeah.
Miro could go through a Sunny or a Janela before getting to Trent. It's harsh, but you know.
Moving on from that, we had a NWA Women's Championship match with the new NWA Women's Champion, Serena Deeb, versus Layla Hirsch. Serena wins by submission. What did you think of the match? What score did you give it?
Friendship ended with Statlander. Now Hirsch is my waifu. I sarcastically wrote down women's 5 minutes at the start of this.
Of course.
I had a fucking great time. Had a great pace. Occasionally you could see that they weren't that familiar with each other, but fucking Hirsch has got legs like Chris Redfield's arms. They're immense. All I talked about during that, like, I expected Serena Deeb to be good. I've seen her be in matches with everyone, and I'm quite aware of the fact she's capable of carrying a match if necessary.
Oh yeah, 100%, mate.
Layla Hirsch, and I said I was going to gush over, all I did was talk about how she carried herself. I did not look at that woman at any point and didn't think she wasn't moving like a fighter. She walked in that like MMA fightery way. She rolled her shoulders. I instantly had a gimmick for her. She's just Ivan Drago of the women's division. She's fucking wicked. And I loved it.
Yeah.
I don't know if the match is arguably above what a C match for a women should be. I would like to give it a B, but I don't know if that's just because
I would like to go in that you're looking at matches at a level that they should be, not what they're at, and this should be a B. Because the women's division is that level. This is a B match because we got two good characters actually doing okay wrestling in the ring. And that's a B match.
If I was to criticize it, I would say having your break before the 30 seconds before the end of it was probably a bad move for momentum, shall we say.
Yes, mate.
Otherwise, I am now a fan of Layla Hirsch and wish to see her destroy people. So you are our American wrestling women's expert now.
AEW now have their Ronda Rousey Shayna Baszler character. Fucking do something with it. It's okay that she's lost to the champions. She must not lose to anyone else.
She can't lose to
Anyone.
any peaks. She has to just lose to champs. Yeah.
Yeah. She is really good. Like you say, she looks like a fighter. Yes, she's short, but
Doesn't
she's
matter.
short and stocky, and she
Yeah.
looks like she can kill you.
Yeah.
In fact, all of her takedowns when it's like headlocks and arm bars and shit.
She's got
everything rolled into
Now, we didn't talk much about the Hikaru Shida match. I didn't mention much. I really enjoyed that match as well because I really liked the strikes versus the takedowns in that match. I know you didn't like it quite as much. Yeah, I really enjoyed this match. B.
Cool, solid. We're across the board, and we've got Hirsch is going up there with Red Velvet as women. I am now following. Yeah, they have won me over with very little.
It's just, I can't get. It's like watching WWE. I can't get invested in this character because they're just going to ruin it.
What we need to see is I need to see three-way storyline between Hirsch, Abaddon, and Red Velvet. Keep them the fuck away from everybody else.
Well,
you ain't getting Abaddon for
you ain't getting
Abaddon.
So Hirsch and Red Velvet, that's who need to be feuding.
Yeah, but Red Velvet's been taken over by Brandy because she was getting too over.
Hirsch and Conti because Conti is a trained martial artist who loves Japanese strong style.
Yeah, I like the difference in looks as well with them.
Hire me, Tony. Hire me. I've got
the ship. I like that.
Division.
Oh, well, that's it. We're doing a fantasy booking later. I'm changing the format.
Just scratch.
Whoa, Hugh! You just need a piece of paper, Hugh, with that just says highest stardom. Just walk in there.
Hikaru Shida backstage interview. It was short, and I didn't know Nyla Rose wasn't going to wrestle unless Hikaru Shida said she could have a championship match.
I believe that was shouted by Vicky Guerrero on last week's Dark.
Right.
This was skippable, if I'm honest. I like Shida. I think she needs possibly more sorted promo sections than on-the-spot moments, because although her English is good for a Japanese person, English is very difficult for a Japanese person. And it's hard to come across cool and hardcore when it's not your natural flow and cadence, shall we say.
Do these as the video, like you did with Mox. Do them as video promos where you can cut and edit.
A few takes. Yeah, give her a few takes, you know.
Moving on, Sean Spears versus VSK. Sean Spears. I didn't even write this down.
A note for this, boys. I didn't remember this match.
Yeah, I didn't actually write who won this. Sean Spears wins. I gave it a D squash. What did you think?
I'll just go as the resident Sean Spears fan. I'll skip through this with all of the details of what happened via my very descriptive notes. Okay. Yep. That was after Spears walked into the ring, hit his C4 and pinned the guy. Then I think a shoe or something was shown at him, and I just wrote the single note of, I wonder who that is, where there was a man in a bull mask. It was obviously Scorpio Sky, who then hit him with his finisher, and the moment was over.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago, I complimented the moment of Sean waiting to wink at Scorpio as he went into the ring.
That was great.
As a very cleverly done small spot. This is not a very cleverly done small spot.
This is the opposite of a very cool done small spot.
This is very skippable. There was no point for this. I'd rather have had a 3-minute section on Dark. You know how much I hate watching Dark.
So moving on to Penta versus Kenny Omega, championship tournament match. Kenny wins with the one-winged angel. What did you guys think, and what score did you give this match?
Blessed indie match.
Was a based indie match. You are not wrong.
This brought me a great amount of joy. Obviously, this was a proper indie. This is what you had to watch like 3 years ago before AEW existed. If you wanted to see random luchador versus random strong style wrestler, you were watching like WPCW or GWC or some shit like that. I had a great time. I loved Phoenix's over dramaticism face as he came in, looking sad about not being in the match.
Like he was in a panto. It was great.
Once again, Kenny's intro reminding everybody that the cleaner was never cool. I'm sorry. They had a great time in the ring. You could see it from the slap-offs. You could see it from a bunch of the different moves, the back and forth. A lot of cool moves, a lot of cool shit going on. The actual ice cooler spot was cool as well when Kenny started doing some more Kenny-ish, heelish shit outside the ring. That fucking middle rope sling blade was back, so it's in. It was great.
Nobody after that happened, I did state nobody else is allowed to do a sling blade anymore.
He's just mastered it. He was the master of the sling blade back in the day, but now he's taken it to the middle rope.
Yeah, everyone else, stop doing sling blades. You look shit.
I did actually make the note at one point of his Penta just going into business for himself because he made a lot of kickouts and got a lot more moves in than I was expecting, especially after what Kenny's been doing and such like. They did not in any way. This was old Penta.
Yes.
This was Penta that we used to watch get the shit kicked out of him and still run out giggling the next week, Yeah, I had a great time. And the end got me doubting enough that Kenny might lose.
Which was never going to happen, but it's great storytelling that they got you to that place.
Yeah, I only made that note like 20 seconds before the finish, but I was like, is Penta actually going? Are you going to blow my mind?
Not the only one.
Yeah.
No. So yeah, I gave this a B. I don't know if it fully deserved the push up to A because the wrestling was great. The story was sort of there. It got me to doubt. But no, I really enjoyed this match. I thought it was really good, and it's very much we opened and finished with my style, basically.
So I want to leap in here because something I want to touch on. Two things. One, it was very interesting that Penta was effectively wrestling face and Kenny wrestling heel for most of this. But at the beginning, you had a very heel Penta with the bit with Phoenix going to high five him and Penta going fuck off. At which point, me and the Rap's like, yes.
Split up.
Phoenix face turn.
Yes, mate.
Phoenix face turn with evil Penta, and then Penta can turn into tweener arm breaker, man. He did the arm break again. I gave this match an A. We fucking loved this match.
Oh.
This almost got, in fact, I'm going to go out a little, I'm going to say this got an A/S. This is an A+. Really, this was old school Penta versus old school Kenny, kicking the absolute living shit out of each other, and I loved every minute of it. My eyes did not leave the screen other than to just say a comment to the Raptor, and that's the only reason I didn't give it a full S for me.
I'm gonna have to give you some NJP dub.
We need to give you a 45-minute Okada Kenny match.
Right, Muir, you're the decider then.
It's an A, mate. It's up there. It's exactly the same as the Hangman Wardlow match. I felt as much joy from each of those matches as the same. I thought it was a great start to the show. Middle was meh, and then that ending was fantastic. This tournament has been worth it just for some of those matches. It's been great. And yeah,
I don't think this tournament's had a bad match, has it?
No.
No, the shortest match we gave an S rank to.
Yeah,
arguably the weakest match was like the best moment.
And you've got to think that Penta and Kenny had a week at most to plan this match.
Yeah, fair.
And they've only, it's been a long time since they faced each other, and they didn't just rehash the match they had before.
Also, I loved that he had the AAA belt hidden underneath his coat.
Oh, yeah, the wanker start.
Yeah, I thought that was fantastic because, playing up to... Yeah, he took that belt off Phoenix, It was obviously going to be a spot for Phoenix, but...
There's a small question. Why does everybody engage in chopper matches with Penta, arguably one of the hardest choppers in AEW, when he quite clearly is wearing an armored jacket?
I don't know. There's only one man that I think could beat him in a chopper, but
You haven't seen T-Hawk in ages.
It's not T-Hawk. It's Ishii.
Ishii!
So, Mr. Strange, what is our overall score for Dynamite?
We got 2 A's, 2 B's, and a C on the ranked moment. So I think we've got a high B basically. A lot of the
Not good as last week, but it's still
a lot
really
of the
good.
promo-y sections fell flat, whereas the wrestling and the storytelling in the wrestling was actually really good.
Especially the tournament. The tournament has been carrying the show.
Yeah,
It's
it
been
has.
really good.
So
100%.
moving on from that, that's our review of the week and our thoughts on BTE, Dark and Dynamite. We move on now to our questions, and I believe, Mr. Strange, you once again, from a completely random person, have another question for us.
I do, from somebody I definitely don't know, one Flint Ironstag. He sent in, having seen the awesome Jericho MJF musical promo, what ridiculous over-the-top promo would you book, and for what wrestlers? Well, I've got one.
Well,
I'm
you've
ready
had
to-
time to muse over the
Yeah,
question.
go on.
Go on.
I sent you this in a message so you'd know.
I don't read messages.
I can't read.
I looked at that and wondered why you sent me this.
Right, go on.
Right, okay, so if anybody recalls, back long ago, before possibly the first Full Gear, we had the MJF, well, not the MJF promo, the Wardlow promo, where he was walking with a woman and they were assaulted by bikers and he beat them all up. Do you recall that? Or am I the only one who remembers AEW history?
You're the only one.
I think you're the only one who remembers that.
Okay, I think we need to go into a full Lucha Underground, baddies live on the streets and wrestlers get to fight them. I want to see, once a bunch of my predictions and things have happened, I want to see John Silver and Wardlow in a full-blown bar fight against people who've been hired to take them down. Maybe after the breakup, MJF sends some people to beat up Wardlow, but I want to see a full promo fucking, like, street fight, Lucha Underground, Robert Rodriguez thing where we see them as action characters for a few minutes. Because if they can bust into fucking musicals, I can have an over-the-top fight scene.
It was the best part. One of the many good parts of Lucha.
Just
Underground.
random luchadors roaming the streets.
Yeah,
on
but they just
motorbikes,
got,
assaulting
the
people.
main characters just got assaulted on the streets. It was brilliant. I love the building of
Better
the
than
universe.
squash matches.
Yes, mate.
It was better than squash matches.
100%.
Just saying.
Yeah.
I think a sitcom type thing. I think a best friends in a circle. I'm gonna have to bring the Inner Circle in because they are comedy fucking gold.
They are.
Well, either Inner Circle or Dark Order, but I think some kind of weird Addams Family meets Friends sitcom.
I think you could
promo.
sitcom Penelope, Kip, and Miro.
Oh, yeah. I think something like
In fact, you could do it against the best friends, to be completely honest, with their new feud.
Yes. I think, some kind of weird sitcom type comedy segment like that, which completely fourth wall breaks.
Canned laughter, that's all.
And canned laughter, yeah. Total over the top. I think actually now you've just said Miro and Kip, I think they'd be really good at it. I think it would guarantee a face turn for them.
Yeah, and you could do the best. No, you could do it with the best friends. You could do it with the best friends and have them like trying to be friends, and it just getting rougher in the scenes in the background and stuff.
Yes.
And featuring the Captain Sean Dean as a little meme joke.
So, Mr. Muir, have you got one?
No.
No. What I would do is make an almost Sons of Anarchy feeling sort of area for Moxley and fucking Darby to be in. And maybe build a few more characters into it and just have this gritty universe where they live. You know, maybe have different feeling universes to like what the characters set at.
Like a grindhouse location.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like that. Yeah, not necessarily a comedy one. Yeah, I like that.
No, that they live in like, sort of squalor and they're, on the streets sort of thing.
Cowboy outlaw type.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
Because that's when I've liked Moxley, is when he's been playing into
Old man Western Moxley is the best Moxley.
Yeah, when he's playing into the Death Rider gimmick,
Yeah. So there you have it. There's our thoughts on some comedy and not so comedy segments that we'd like to see. If you have a question like, what was it, Flint?
Ironstag.
So yeah,
Flint Ironstag.
Flint Ironstag had for us this week.
Real
Please
name.
send them to
Real person.
wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. You can contact us, WrestleOP, on Facebook, and not Facebool, as I have written this week in the show notes, or
Not Facebook.
WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Now, normally this would be a time where we might have a rant. This is where we might do some booking. But this is our go-home show before Full Gear. So it's time for our Full
God,
Gear
that means 2 shows
predictions.
next week.
Yeah, it does.
No.
It's time for our Full Gear predictions. A little different than we did them last time, because it will just be the 3 of us doing the predictions this time. So I'm going to kick straight off with what is going to be on the buy-in, the pre-show. Orange Cassidy versus John Silver. Mr. Strange, you go first.
Cassidy, obviously. Silver might be over. He's not powerful enough yet. Boom.
Mr. Muir?
No.
Was that Cassidy?
Yeah, just Cassidy.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
to discuss here.
Yeah.
As much as
Nobody-
I love John Silver.
Because he is based man like John Silver. Morg, are you being a contrarian?
No, Cassidy across the board. I'm just going to have to make right. Next up on my list, I am going with an online list for this, so this isn't necessarily the order that the matches will be on. Chris Jericho versus MJF, and MJF will be allowed to join the Inner Circle if he wins. Mr. Muir, you can lead on this.
MJF. To push further stories we'll discuss later.
Things which are coming in a moment. He had to listen to me conspiracy theorizing.
I have a
like
feeling
madman.
it's going to be the thing that's coming next. Mr. Strange?
MJF.
Yeah, I think MJF's got to win. He's got to be allowed to join the Inner Circle. Yeah. And I think Jericho will happily put him over, and that's going to set up more stuff for later. Moving on to the next match on my list, Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara in the Elite Deletion match.
I'm going to let Strange go first on this, yeah.
Sammy loses, Matt Hardy wins, and Sammy goes into the Lake of Reincarnation to come out as a face, thus counteracting MJF beating Jericho in the plot.
You read my notes.
Boom!
I should have gone first. Mr. Muir?
I also agree with Strange on this one because we discussed this.
Yeah,
about 7 beers in last night. I was on the notes, and
so yeah. It is funny you should mention this. Is exactly what the Raptor pointed out, and I was already there when I said this better be a Hardy compound match.
It better be bollocks.
Yeah, it better be absolute ridiculousness. I want to see the mower of lawns. I want to see a dilapidated boat, and I want Sammy going into the Lake of Reincarnation. I want broken Sammy, but this is where I think we're going to differ a little. You've predicted Matt and Sammy. I'm going to predict Sammy wins the match, and then Matt throws him into the Lake of Reincarnation.
Oh.
Okay.
But yeah, and then Sammy gets. Then Sammy turns face, comes out, and we get broken Sammy for a while, because I think he'll be good and have fun with it. Okay, big one. Hangman Adam Page versus Kenny Omega, finals of the AEW World Championship Eliminator Tournament, and winner gets a future AEW World Title shot. Mr. Muir, your turn. Who do you think's winning?
This one's a hard one, but I'm going with Omega. It really depends on who wins versus the Kingston versus Mox match to who wins this one, but I'm thinking it's going to be the Hangman. I'm going to be Omega, sorry.
Mr. Strange?
The best bout machine. He's so good at Japanese, he translates for Michael Nakazawa. The cleaner was never cool. Kenny Omega.
So I'm torn on this. And again, I'm down. So I'm going to go with my heart and lose our predictions.
Oh.
But I'm going to go with my heart, and this ties into what I want to go for later. So I'm going to say that Hangman Adam Page wins and finally gets to beat Kenny. I don't think it'll hurt Kenny. Kenny can bitch about it even more. It'll make him even more of a heel because he's lost. And there's a reason I think that Hangman. I'll get to that later. But I think Hangman's winning.
He has not
Moving
been
on, I can't remember whose turn it is to go first. Oh, it's Mr. Strange, isn't it? Hikaru Shida versus Nyla Rose for the AEW Women's Championship match.
Shida.
Okay.
They can't give the title straight back to Nyla.
No, it'd be silly.
This is AEW's women's division, I'm going to remind you.
Yes.
Oh, are you going to be the cynical one? Like last time where everybody was like, there's no way they'll just have Cody win. What, was it Cody last time? Nightmare, you were like, you're being too cynical. Am I going to have to be too cynical at you, Morg?
I said I'm going to book this one with my heart, and I want Hikaru Shida to win. I want her title. I think the correct person to beat her is Britt Baker. So therefore, yeah, I'm going to agree with you guys and say Hikaru Shida, even though I don't trust Tony Khan to book the women's division sensibly.
Tony Khan doesn't book the women's division. He doesn't care about it.
He just does not care about the women's division. Stop expecting him to care.
Next on my list, FTR. Cash Wheeler and Dax Hardwood versus the Young Bucks, Nick and Matt Jackson, AEW World Tag Team Championship match. If Nick and Matt lose, they will never challenge for the belt again.
FTR. We are doing the death and reconstruction of the heroes, my friend, and Kenny Omega is no longer a hero.
Yeah. It's just... I don't know, because this has been so shoddily booked, I'm almost expecting the Bucks to win. Just to, put them on top.
Yeah. For something that they have been booking themselves quietly on the side in BTE, and FTR have been trying to get out of their WWE contracts to do this match. I agree. Bucks should not have won that tag team.
God no,
tournament.
They should have been put down so they could go even lower, then be risen up against.
And they had to turn face again to beat FTR. That's the only way they could beat them. Unless Bucks get, and I also state that thing I've said before, which I think the Young Bucks need to have the belt. Unfortunately, I think they're trying to be well behaved and go and do the Cody stipulation. We can't face for this because we're actually the EVPs. I'm going to agree with you guys. I think it's going to be FTR, and I don't think it's the right move.
If there's any match that's going to be overly shenanigans, it will be that one.
Yeah. Or the Cody match, because Cody.
Speaking of which, Cody with Arn Anderson versus Darby Allin for the AEW TNT Championship match. Who do you think winning?
Cody. It's time for me to be cynical. It's Cody again, boys.
Mr. Muir?
They kind of hot-shotted the belt around that much to not keep it on Cody. It makes no sense. Because otherwise they would have had Darby Allin just win it against Brody now, which would have made a lot more sense if they were going to change the belt's hands.
Would have been
so it's got to be Cody.
Yeah,
it would have been really good.
We all
would have been really good, and we'd have been
everybody complaining under their breath.
We'd have been really fucking invested.
If Cody had been defeated, then his young up-and-comer upstart had come and saved him and then beaten the guy that he struggled against. That could have been storytelling, boys, but no, here we are, it's Cody.
Andy Orton's not better than me because he beat the person I couldn't beat. For example.
Cody, I think Cody's winning. I'm going for the bonus point. I think Will Hobbs is going to come in and cost Darby the match and join Team Taz.
Ooh. That'd be pretty cool.
That's my prediction. I think Will Hobbs is going to cost Darby the match. Or if he doesn't cost him the match, he's going to come out at the end to give him a hug, and then he's going to give him the last will and testament and then join Team Taz.
All right, cool. Possibly. Yeah, no, I'm down with that prediction. I'll keep an eye.
And
that's quite interesting.
Finally, Jon Moxley versus Eddie Kingston in an I Quit match for the AEW World Championship.
Mox will win, but Eddie will find a way to say he didn't win. He didn't lose.
I really want Kingston to win this. He deserves a world championship belt at top level. But no, it's got to be Mox. It has to be.
So I'm sticking.
This is the one I'll be the most excited by.
Yeah, I'm sticking with my story.
Okay.
I think Mox is going to win this in the same way that I think Kenny is actually going to win, but I'm going to stick with my heart and with my story. Somehow, through some shenanigans, because Mox, neither of these guys can say I quit. They may even need to go back to the old Rock versus Mankind trick of playing a tape record of Mox saying I quit earlier from a promo.
Yeah.
I don't care how they shenanigans it. Neither of these guys must say I quit unless Eddie is about to turn babyface and reside with Mox. But I think Eddie wins. Eddie wins, has a very short title reign, gets a title reign because it's the thing he's always wanted. It's a thing. He's big mates with Mox as far as we can tell. That does seem to be real.
And then just put over Hangman. Yeah.
And then puts over Hangman straight away. He's got his faction of goons. Hangman will go through his faction of goons, thus getting off the alcohol, coming through the other side as the top conquering babyface.
Then Cody takes the title.
And then Cody turns heels, performs the Four Horsemen, and takes the title. And then Hangman needs to get some friends to get the title back. But yeah, so I expect Moxley to win. I expect Omega to win. I'm going to go with my heart on what I want to see happen and what I think will be a better story, which is Hangman Adam Page and Eddie Kingston to have a short title reign because he deserves it for his years in the business.
I like that idea, but I don't think it's happening, unfortunately.
I like that idea, but I hope Eddie just gets to keep it for like 2 years.
Reign of Terror.
No, he's not. As much as I like him, he's not good enough to carry the company. And
How dare you?
He's not.
How dare you?
If he starts making the other wrestlers dance off in the middle of the ring, then I'm down with it.
Yeah, mate. If he has a giant faction to protect him at every corner.
Yes, mate.
He'd need to be a different kind of heel, and I don't want Eddie to become a chicken shit heel. Jericho can get away with it. Eddie needs to be a fighting champion heel. He needs to be a dickhead heel.
I'm with you. Well, he's always done light cheating.
He is a cheat.
So there you have it. That's our predictions. So it's pretty much, as far as I can tell, me versus you two as to who's gonna.
I hope you're right.
You're right.
I mean that with my heart. I hope you're right. Except for the Kenny Hangman one. Unless you voted for Kenny as well, I forget.
No, I voted for Hangman because I think Hangman beating Eddie would be a good story.
It's the right road.
So there you have it. That's our predictions for Full Gear. Full Gear is, I believe, next Saturday. So make sure you watch that. We will be watching it on social media. We will be on our Discord channel. If you want to get in on our Discord channel and come and watch it along with us and listen to us rambling shit and cheering when Cage suddenly appears, which is what happened last time, send us an email to wrestleopinionated@gmail.com. Send us a message to Facebook on Wrestleopinionated on Facebook. Put a post on our Facebook page. Send us a tweet. And anyone who does send us that, we will send you the details to our Discord channel and you can come and watch it. Please remember, if you come and watch it with us, this is an AEW match. Come with a positive attitude. Mr. Muir, time for a discussion.
I'm still shook at the idea of having to come with a positive attitude more. That was
I wasn't warned about this.
So discussions is because of the post about the Nightmare people suddenly getting even stronger. We were discussing factions during our production meeting. I can't remember the word for it. And so that got us into discussing, we wanted to discuss factions. So what do you guys think of factions? What do you think factions should be? How big should they be? And that sort of jazz.
Jumping on first, because I'm always ready.
You can go first.
Oh, so I'm a fan of factions. I think stables to factions are fucking great, and I think they're a very easy way to get your underdog or big mean characters over. And in honesty, big factions are fucking fine. As much as I'm a fan of the smaller underdog tweener scumbag factions, shall we say. So NJP Dub does it really well. They've just got like 4 factions. When you join, you go into a faction. You've instantly got a friend team. You've instantly got a group. There's foreigners, douchebags, super heels, and faces. And that's basically how NJPW sorts you. I'd argue that's probably a little bit too refining, but my favorite faction in probably all of wrestling is in fact the only small faction in NJPW, which has 5 members, which is Los Ignorables de Japón. Obviously, it's Japanese. And similarly, I matched this with Oya Dotai in Stardom. What is it about small roaming groups of tweenerish douchebags that just win me over? But factions are great. I love them, and they give you. We didn't care about the Dark Order when it started. We didn't give one fucking shit. It was badly made. It was two people talking about a cult. But now they've got a horde full of randos. Some who are jobbers, some who are mysterious comedy giants. It's a lot easier to love, and it very much is that DX fucking. Is there a better example faction realistically than DX? Boys,
I've got to say NWO.
No.
Oh,
NWO went crazy too early.
But early NWO.
How early?
Before everybody had to join.
So what? We're talking 6 as your last member of your original.
Yeah.
NWO? Okay.
Yeah. When
So
it,
you
when
got
it
four
was,
guys,
and
you
it
got
was,
tag team,
it was
you got-
still cool.
Yeah.
I don't know. I still, as much as Too Sweet has taken over through wrestling, and as much as it's still a thing in the Bullet Club. See, foreigners in the NJP dub. The DX, mate. I still fucking do.
Which
suck
DX
it gestures. Original. Well, what I believe is the original.
3-person DX, 4-person when you had Rick Rude, or expanded DX with Hunter when they invaded WCW.
Yeah. He's talking about New Age Outlaws level of DX.
Help me, Nick. He's
He
talking
wants
old days
new-
at me.
He wants New Age Outlaws time where Hunter was in charge.
Right.
That's what he wants.
Comedy dickheads being overly offensive, and Shawn Michaels is still there.
Oh no, well that's that's early DX. That's Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and China with Rick Rude really briefly.
Yeah, and then they evolve into the New Age Outlaw stuff. I'm just going to keep going. I'm going to have to stop and let you guys talk. I think factions are great. I think it's a great way to rise up your stars, and they can either keep the faction or discard it as they get going, basically, or force down compositions.
You need to be careful about factions getting too popular. See back to the NWO. DX got it right, and I actually prefer DX over the NWO. I just think you need to give credit, even though Eric Bischoff nicked that idea from Japan. I think you need to give credit to NWO. It's pretty much well known. He did steal the idea of a faction coming in to invade WCW from a Japanese.
For things been done before, mate.
Yeah.
So,
but in my opinion, the greatest faction of all time is the Shield, because every single member of that faction held the World Championship, and therefore it succeeded in doing everything. You've got all 3 members of that faction over, but they were very small. Bigger factions.
You're trying to tell me that Seth Rollins is over?
Yeah, he was.
It's not
And he's over again now. He's gone back to being douchebag heel. Monday Night Messiah. He's over again. He just was a really bad baby face in the middle when he just was really terrible. And Mox had a terrible heel run off the back of it that made him leave WWE and go to AEW.
And then Roman's reign as well, where everybody hated him.
Yes, but that's not Roman's fault. That's WWE's.
No. I'm not blaming you.
We must have the one. Roman's current thing where he's a heel is absolutely fucking brilliant.
Chief.
All I'm gonna say is halfway through this, Morg said something, and I stared at my screen in like legit offense and had to go quiet. How dare you? How dare you suggest the Shield is better than Los Ignorables?
Has every single member of Los Ignorables been the biggest world champion in the world?
No.
For arguably the biggest company.
Great.
Then they're not as good a faction. They're not as good a faction.
Titles.
Okay, so if somebody doesn't have the gimmick belt, that's just the gimmick. It means the faction's rubbish.
When I'll have you know that Naito is the first and only IWGP and NJPW heavyweight champion simultaneously after a 7-year storyline and in a faction that crosses over with Mexico. And when we get Andrade back, it's going to be even better. How dare you? Nobody cares about Tyler Black.
But that's cool. But you've got one guy over in your faction there. Then you just stated to me that faction has got one guy over. Whereas the Shield had
Vince
got all
fanboy
three
thinks you need to
got
have a belt to be over.
It's
Don't
not
need a
about
belt
that.
to be over.
It's being the position. What does Eddie Kingston say? What's your favorite wrestler? Why should you be in that business?
Yeah, but that's in character. That's the story.
It's still legitimate for it. Is that all three members of that faction
come
were
down
pushed
the ramp
to the
and
point.
all the women are screaming madly because Sonada's there.
I'm going to jump into at least American things. So Morg has a, so at least we have a sort of counterbalance of I mean, arguably, I don't know anything about the Shield, so I am the worst person to be in this discussion. I would argue that there is more heart, soul, and character in the stories of LIJ, a company that outsells Bullet Club for merch, despite only having two titles currently on one person, and frequently the tag titles. I would argue that there is more story and heart in them with their decades of story and being the most popular NJPW company than three guys who were given belts, one of which who was largely booed for afterwards.
It's fair. As I stated, it's just I specifically see that the Shield did
this
what
is
a
going to be a
faction,
back and forth.
what a faction is. The other one to remember, again for WWE one, is Evolution, because that also achieved the same thing. It made two huge stars.
Evolution
made two, and that was a perfect. And we need to go back to the original Four Horsemen. For getting they got all four of them.
Big faction.
They're the first
Quick, put aside the Shield versus LA.
they're the first one I can think of.
They're the first real big faction that actually came into like that sort of provenance sort of level of it all
and owned everything.
Yeah.
About the
LIJ literally owned every single belt in NJPW.
Yeah, they did at one point. Actually, no, that was last year. Only
Yeah.
Sonada didn't have a belt.
Yeah.
Actually, yes, they have held every belt in the company, Morg. I just forgot.
No, I said every member held the main belt.
No, that's not true. You don't get to.
But unfortunately, not like WWE. The NJPW belts actually have some sort of like standing.
Nick, we can't just argue this. Also, tag team wrestling means less to NJPW than it does to Vince. They don't give a fuck about the tag team champion. Those boys are never getting those champion belts.
Oh, really?
Bushi is never.
Yes, mate.
I didn't think tag team could mean less to anyone.
No, mate, if you're a tag team wrestler, you have no stats in NJPW.
You just don't give a fuck about
mate.
See, it's not all good in Japan. No. I'm just an LIJ fanboy.
Yeah. Anyway.
Okay. Is there a better women's faction than Owie Adotai?
Is there a better women's faction? Currently, yes.
I mean, other than Stardom, has there
Western
been
wrestling?
Has there been?
No. No, the four horsemen women was a terrible gimmick, but
well, no, they never did it. Well, it would have been really good if they'd actually fucking done it. That's the problem. It would have been really good.
I've heard people talking about this for years.
The Four Horsewomen.
People talking about the Four Horsewomen.
The Four Horsewomen exist as the Four Horsewomen of WWE's women's division. But they've never really they flirted around with it. They've nearly done it. They've nearly got there. They've never actually had them, all four of them. I don't think they've ever managed to get all four of them on the same page at the same time as a actual faction. Yeah, it just shows. Yeah, I don't think I can't think of a great women. Did the Beautiful People ever have more than two members?
Beautiful People were good fun, but they weren't a great, stable, were they now?
I thought they were just a tag team.
They were just a tag team. They might know they had
people can't be a faction, or I'm getting the mega powers in.
They did have three members at one time, but I don't think anyone's managed to do it as well as Stardom. I can't think of a Western.
No,
there might be something in Shimmer.
Because currently I can read off like three stables I really like in Stardom. So
Stardom's a bit like NJPW. You join, you're in a faction. Off you go. Good time. And the factions are, and I have not watched that much Stardom, but here we go. Oedo Tai, who used to be the coolest faction, but now they're on the down.
Yep.
The Queens, tweener asshole heels, who I like.
Yep.
The goody ones.
Stars.
The stars. They're the goody ones. Donadell.
Honors.
Yeah, the Donners, who are all foreigner heels and mostly like 5'10" to 6 footish, which is pretty.
Oh no, it's
fucking
the Mean
big.
Girls.
And there was the Tokyo Cyber Squad, but they recently got destroyed.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can name 4 women's stables from a company I've been watching for realistically a couple of months. I've known of since I became a Kagetsu fanboy. That's like more than even any number of women's factions I could name.
Yeah.
But that
Just shows how badly women are booked in Western countries, sadly. But anyway, yeah.
Faction's good, women's faction's bad.
Yeah.
Too Cool is still the best faction ever, I'm sorry.
Too Cool are still the best. I am willing to concede this for random comedy mid-card people.
Yes,
all
mate.
of my mates fucking love Too Cool. Everybody had a great time when they were in the ring. They got to dabble with the upper card. Too Cool, the best faction.
Do you count the... Now, we talked about trios. Do you count trios? So would you count the New Day as a faction?
I guess. Because if we're saying...
Do we actually have trios matches?
They do have... They have had trios matches, but not... They don't have like a trios belt as such.
No.
My God, we're missing one.
Who?
Worldwide Underground.
Oh, God. Yeah, that was a great faction.
From Lucha Underground.
Right, if we go to Lucha Underground, we've got the fucking Reptile Tribe, led by Thunder Rosa.
With, of course, the greatest member of any faction ever. Jeremiah Snake.
Fucking Jeremiah Snake. I'm never going to recover from that. I'm never going to require from Jeremiah Snake. For those who don't watch Lucha Underground, Jeremiah Crane was a baddie who then got killed or disappeared, and they brought him back as a lizard man zombie called Jeremiah Snake, and it was fucking hilarious. And it's
the stupidest shit
ever.
And
when she is listening to this podcast, the Raptor will now be in hysterics.
Fucking Jeremiah Snake.
Why was he called Jeremiah Snake?
I have no idea.
Why could he just have a normal name? Anyway, let's carry on.
Factions are good. Factions give you character, they give you a place to train your wrestlers, and you will always have an option for a mid-carder, an upper-carder, and hopefully a tag team.
And you get
preferably a Whammons.
Yeah.
And if you're really lucky, the faction will do the most important thing. As much as I've wanted to go out on my Shield limb, I would actually say one of the most important factions, although they didn't really do much, is the Nation of Domination. All due to one thing. They are the faction that had the Rock in, and they are the faction that catapulted the Rock. That is what you're trying to do. Certainly in modern factions, I think you're trying to get that one guy. You want that one breakout star from your faction who's going to go on and sell massive amounts. Starks is the one from Team Taz. As much as I love Brian Cage, they need another person. I think they need Will Hobbs. But yeah, that's Ricky Starks is the one from that. I think Sammy is going to be the one from Inner Circle.
Yeah, we always knew it was going to be Sammy, though.
Who's going to be the Dark Order one? Probably 10.
Well, weirdly, it's John Silver currently.
It is true. He is fucking beloved on shitlord meme internet.
Yeah, it's what you want out of a faction, in my opinion. Is you want that one person to be catapulted to superstardom. As much as I state about the Shield, yes, it is what is created and it's what you want to come out. And the only reason I state it as being that is because of what should come out of it. But really, probably the greatest faction of all time is the Nation of Domination because it gave us the Rock.
Yeah, the Rock. By the way, I'm going to put out a great shape for the Rock, who is giving, who is personally announcing Ken Shamrock into the Impact Hall of Fame, I think. Rock don't give a fuck anymore, mate.
No.
And Shamrock asked if he'd do it, and he was like, "Yeah, fuck it, I'm in."
Just Ken Shamrock put him over so well when he was first
Yeah.
starting out.
That match is really
Yeah, mate.
good.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
Kid-
that's our thoughts on factions. There you go. You've had probably one of our first actual arguments between us that we've had in a long time. That's our show for the week. You can find us on I'd like to thank anchor.fm for hosting the podcast. You can find us at Wrestleopinionated on YouTube, anchor.fm, and Spotify. Mr. Muir.
All I'm going to say is Too Cool is the best faction, and if you'd like to send us stuff, please send it to WrestleOpinionated@gmail.com, WrestleOP on Facebook, and WrestleOP1 on Twitter. Thank you very much for listening. Over to you, Strange.
Please take time to look up on YouTube the history of Los Ignorables de Japón and where they come from.
The best faction.
The best faction.
You can't stop us now.
Cheers for listening. Please do click the like, share, subscribe button or the little 5-bar on Spotify. I'm not sure what it all actually means. But yeah, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, make other people watch wrestling. It's really good and you can have arguments with your friends about it. Thank you very much. Back to you, Morg.
So all that's left to be said is believe in the Shield.